like I'm in the office, like.
I told my mom, my dad, like.
Oh, I sent my dad the link. Hopefully he listened.
Hurry.
He was like, "Oh, I think people are gonna judge you because of what you're talking about." I'm like, and people who feel negatively about what I'm gonna talk about are racist. So
Exactly.
do I really care about what they have to say? No. He's like, I feel like my parents, they see me as this like radical political, and I don't even see myself as that. Like,
yeah,
it's like
my father sees me as that.
Like college is the place where we're supposed to be having this conversation.
Exactly.
So if not us, who?
My point.
If not now,
like
when?
Me and my mother get into a lot of arguments. Hurry up!
Jahmal.
You're moving slow. Like
okay, they're under what you have to say. You're gonna ask it.
Okay.
And then just make sure you're paying attention. Like, don't always look.
Did they tell you about talking into the mic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you'll be fine.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos. Thank you for tuning in to the Latin American Student Union's radio show, La Voz. My name is Amiya Castro, and I am the La Voz and Publications Coordinator for LASU. I will also be one of your hosts for the evening. We have some amazing people joining us for tonight's show. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Jahmal Ojeda and I'm the president of the Latin American Student Union.
hello, everyone. This is Kierra Perkins, and I am the social coordinator at DCX. If you're listening, we would love to have you join the conversation and call us live, 607-777-2137. And if you're shy, you can just DM us on Instagram at lasu_1969.
So I am so excited for tonight's show, right? But first, how was everyone's first week of classes?
Oh my god. I am a senior and I changed my schedule 4 times.
Four
different times.
So y'all like your schedule? Like I can't tell. Like
No, I really do. That's why I changed it, because I kept pursuing this one class and she kept saying no, we're full, but I was checking the registration every day until I saw the spot that I wanted and I changed it.
Yeah, my schedule's pretty calm. I got a few large gaps that are not the best, but so like have you guys done some back to school shopping? Is Walmart your best friend? Like what's up with that?
So I actually did a lot of my shopping through Amazon because I'm practicing this new thing where you just stay at home and let everything come to you. Yeah.
Five Below has been my best friend.
But since we're mentioning Walmart, I think the real question is, do you all feel safe in Walmart? Because I'm not sure like if any of you or any of our listeners have heard of the mass shootings that occurred in Paso, Texas last month. So if you didn't, a 21-year-old Patrick Wood Crucius walked into Walmart on Saturday, August 3rd with an AK-47 with the intentions of killing Hispanic individuals. He was actually successful in killing 22 people with ages ranging from 15 to 90, with only one of these victims now being Hispanic. So how did you as Latinx individuals feel about this attack?
Honestly, like this is such a scary thing to think about. Like you can't even like I go to Walmart all the time. Like imagine I go to buy some shampoo and conditioner and then someone walks in with the intentions of killing me just because of how I look, right? Because he walked in not knowing these people, not knowing their backgrounds, but just assuming that they're Hispanic, that they're Latinx, and like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you because of how you look.
Yeah, and it's actually it's scary knowing that you're no longer safe in this like public spaces, because now it's like I don't feel safe in my college, like, you know, in my college classroom. I don't feel safe in the local Walmart, you know, like I feel like every attack takes away some sort of comfort that I have and like something in my environment, and it makes me feel more like afraid to be out. Like I'd rather just stay home and know that like, oh, at least I'll be safe here than having to take the risk of like, oh, I'm stepping out of my house.
So, how do we know that the shooter actually had intentions of killing Hispanic people and it wasn't just a, coincidence?
Actually, I have heard about this shooting before and I did read up on it. Just 20 minutes before the shooting occurred, an anti-Hispanic manifesto was published online. The manifesto was entitled The Inconvenient Truth and was filled with hate speech against Hispanic individuals. So it is not a shock, nor do I believe that it is a coincidence that the mass shooting occurred in El Paso right after the manifesto was uploaded online.
So the manifesto also referenced the mass shootings that happened a few months ago at 2 mosques in New Zealand. this was spoken about previously on the show, but as you know, a refresher for any new listeners who may not know about what happened, on Friday, March 15, 20-year-old Brendan Tarrant opened fire into a mosque in New Zealand with the intention of killing Muslims. The shooting resulted in 51 people dead and 49 more wounded. Similar to the El Paso shooting, a hate-filled manifesto was published before the shooting.
Exactly. And the manifesto written by the New Zealand shooter discusses an interesting white supremacist theory called the Great Replacement. The theory is basically saying that white people are being replaced by foreigners and that the only way to reverse this is to kill all these foreigners. The El Paso shooter's manifesto references this theory and actually praises the New Zealand shooter, if you can believe that, for his work and their common goal that seems to be some sort of ethnic cleansing.
So, basically, let's bring it back for a moment. When both of these shootings first occurred, it took authorities a few days before investigating the cases as hate crimes. Isn't this crazy? Do you believe these are hate crimes? And why do you think authorities were hesitant to classifying these shootings as hate crimes?
I actually feel like this is like domestic terrorism. Like, it's not a hate crime. Like, the guy had an intention of killing mass individuals, and he went with an intention. He went with a target. He had reasonings for carrying out this attack. He was prepared for it. He knew when to strike. Some of the articles that I read actually spoke about how he started opening fire from the parking lot. Like, usually some of the other shootings that I have like studied, just to like, you know, get a grasp of like what I was actually like reading about, mentioned that, you know, the shooter usually waits until like they're inside the premise, but he opened fire like as soon as he got into the parking lot, which showed that he came with the intention to kill from like the jump. Like, he had no hesitation, no like second thoughts. He just went in and did what he wanted to do.
Well, personally, I feel like the authorities were definitely hesitant because, in a sense, I feel like they want to ensure that there is no responsibility on their behalf, as if like they don't want to be seen as the blame for it, for not having proper, you know, policies in place, especially specifically on our gun control. That in itself kind of places the government as responsible.
And I feel like before, when the Boston bombing happened, they was so quick for it to be considered like an act of terrorism.
Yes.
Because I remember, I was coming out. I think this was my junior year of high school. I was coming out of school. On the train, I'm getting a phone call from my sister, and she's telling me about this, and she's like, "Oh, there was like a terrorist attack in Boston," and it's like all the headlines said, terrorist attack. So it's like, why does it always take a second? You know, just because it's like a white male, it takes a second for them to be like, "Oh my God, is this a hate crime?" When I feel like, or like an act of domestic terrorism.
That's the key, though. Like, it's the shooter. What do they look like? It's a white young man, right? In both these cases, and also who are they targeting? So like for the New Zealand shooting, they were targeting Muslims. For the El Paso shooting, they were targeting Hispanic individuals. So it's like
for the Pulse nightclub, they were also, you know, he was targeting the LGBTQ community. So it's like all of this shooters have in common the intention of, and they have like a target like population, like they know who they want specifically. Because I was reading some of the articles that mentioned how he was letting like black and white people pass him, like he was he was allowing them to escape, but he was targeting his like Latinx individuals, and like that was his primary focus. Like some of the information mentioned that there were some people that were wounded, but that weren't Latinx, but it was because they were interfering with the shooter.
So I feel that the societal view of what makes a terrorist is really based off of looks. Like, people are classified as a terrorist because of their phenotype, but in all reality, a terrorist is someone whose radical beliefs causes them to incite terror and violence onto others. So it really does not matter what you look like. Anyone can be a terrorist. So would the reaction have been different if the shooters weren't white? Do you guys feel?
Most definitely. Is that a real question?
Yeah,
it has to be. It really, like, that's the thing. Like, it's really a question because
you see the common pattern of like, oh, mental health issues or mental illnesses. This person didn't have
Right.
too many good friends or came from a broken home. But I've known a lot of people who come from broken homes, who come from backgrounds like that,
Very similar.
Yeah,
Identical.
so, and it's, or worse,
Worse.
sometimes like people really that I've known have come from worse backgrounds and they're getting a college education, they're thriving
Right.
out there, they're using that to actually motivate them. So I don't think that's an excuse to be like, oh no, he didn't commit acts of terrorism, he was just,
Troubled.
acting out.
No, I saw this tweet, and it was saying I knew that the El Paso shooter was white when they started talking about how the brain isn't fully developed until you're like 25 or something like that, and that's so true though.
Mhm.
Honestly.
All the scholars are quick to pull the books out
No,
and pointing like,
honestly.
oh no, this was a society issue. Like society
Yeah.
forced him to do this. No, because he felt responsible for
To
that
do
to
it.
do it. Like he was like, I need to do something about
Right.
the Hispanic invasion of Texas. Like,
Mhm.
and you see like a common pattern, of
Nationalism.
all of this, and it all centers around like Trump. Like Trump has been the one enabling all of these attacks, and in a way, he has been like kind of like encouraging them in a way.
No, I completely agree. I feel like ever since his election, people have felt more empowered, more
Entitled.
emboldened,
That's the word.
entitled to
To do
to
that.
have this hate rhetoric, these hate crimes, these acts of terrorism, and like not blink an eye.
And then using his tweets or his word usage and the things that he speak on at his rallies and things, and basically using that as a ticket, like, hey, I this is okay, this is right, because
Right.
hey, our president is also supporting
Right.
this.
And like having Trump spelled out in guns. I know y'all have seen the picture.
Definitely.
Like it's just like there's just violence. His name is encompassed in violence, basically.
So the El Paso shooter was able to openly tell authorities that he did in fact drive nearly 10 hours from Allen, Texas to kill Mexicans, which he uses as an umbrella term for all Hispanic individuals. The same thing with the New Zealand shooter. When he was being questioned by authorities after the shooting, he kept asking them what the exact body count was. Like his exact words were, how many did I kill? How many did I get? So feel free to just tell me what you think about this. Like it's not even a specific question, just like what is your reaction of just hearing this? Like he's actively asking, oh, how many did I get? Like this was some sort of contest.
When I looked at the news coverage and I saw the videos, I thought to myself, this looks like a scene out of GTA, because the way the paraphernalia that he had, his glasses, the type of gun that he had, and just to seeing the reactions of the victims within the videos, it just showed me. I felt as if
You were there.
it was a plan implemented, and he just followed the steps. And it was scary because it literally looked like he was playing a game. Like he looked like he was playing a game.
He really it was a mission.
He did, and he went on Facebook Live and everything, and he was like extremely proud. That's what I'm saying. It goes back to that theory, which I did when I read about it. It really blew my mind.
Mhm.
The Great Replacement.
What?
Even the diction about it is like, wow, y'all really trying it.
Like they didn't themselves commit a great replacement when
But
they just
That's the tea.
he wasn't the first to actually start up, his manifesto was in other ways like a continuation of someone else's manifesto.
And
So,
it has been a continuation of different
people, they don't even know each other. They have the same views.
And if you see this pattern in serial killers where they build off of each other, they're inspired by one another, and each one tries to continue or replicate or do something similar to something that someone else has done in the past. And I feel like the shooters now are all taking ideas from each other, or this person didn't succeed at a Walmart, let me try somewhere else.
Yep.
They are really getting more precise with this attacks.
Right.
At first it was random, but now it's like you said, planned. they all have an intention. Now they're writing manifestos. Like, what is next? They're gonna have a rally right before they commit it. Like,
Oh, they did that back in the KKK.
oh, you know, let's, you know, that this is a sore topic from America. Like, you know, America.
And I feel like it's gotten progressively worse. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like when Trump was elected into office, you had the build a wall propaganda, you know, kids linking arms, not letting Hispanic individuals pass them and to get into the school.
Yep.
Trying to rip off
like the
hijabs,
yeah.
stuff like that. Like, go back to your country. Telling congresswomen who were born in the United States to go back to their country. Like, how does this become something that is okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's because it's becoming normalized. You see it all over the media, Twitter. Like, our Twitter users who are listening, you know, you see the comments, like, in these threats. You see how ignorant people could be, how inspired they feel, how passionate they speak about subjects. Like, it's just too much. It's,
You know,
it's enabling. Social media in a way is becoming a platform to spread hate as well.
Right.
Most definitely. And just to piggyback off what you're saying, Jahmal, in a sense, you're speaking about the power of the bystander.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are seeing these things consistently. And people, it's just how, this is how it is.
Here we go again.
So I have a question then.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about sharing this type of content? So, like, for example, when the New Zealand mass shooting first happened, there was the Facebook Live video. People had that video. People were sharing that video, right? And then it becomes an argument of you're enabling him by doing this because he wants everyone to see. So, like, you're trying to spread awareness, but you're really, like, doing exactly what he wanted you to do. So, what do you guys think about that?
It becomes difficult because then when you start putting regulations on the press,
Yeah.
your rights as an individual, and, like, you know, the few rights that we have start diminishing. So it's like at the same time, yes, I you know, we want the media to be different and to be more supportive of, like, human rights and actually promote what was good for the world, but at the same time, it's like, you know, that those who are in power would try to use this as an opportunity to be like, let's silence the voices of those, you know, who we don't necessarily like. And as you can see with, like, how you know, we just have, like, people have been attempting to silence us for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I just feel like this whole thing with social media, I mean, it existed before, but ever since Trump came into office, it has really become more prominent. Like, I see it more often. Like, I see videos.
You
like
got Twitter fingers.
Yeah, like, he's quick to tweet at, like, 6 a.m. on issues that I just be, you know, you hear growing up, be a professional, you know, hit up, you know, during business hours.
Yeah.
And I understand that that's his personal Twitter, but at the same time, you're the president of the United States.
Us.
You're constantly, you know, you don't want to admit it, but it's like he's constantly, like, at work. So it's like you're making us not only look like making us look like a joke in the international stage too, because there's people already.
Oh, we've been that
leaders, for
now.
decades. But it's at this point, it's just. Now it's like people are looking at us like, damn, like, what is happening in America? Like, terrorism is running rampant, like domestic terrorism, and we're supposed to be the ones leading the war, you know, on terrorism. So you see how it's just so, like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Something that I kind of want to, like, point out is the fact that I have another class, and we spoke on a big Supreme case called the Big Will case. And this case specifically was basically speaking about how Puerto Rico and people that are from Puerto Rico belongs to, but not are citizens of the U.S.
Yes.
This is in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Modern day colony, yes.
Yes, thank you.
And you know what's so funny about that? That, like, Puerto Ricans are targeted also by all of this anti-immigrant individuals without them knowing that we are actually
we're citizens. But it's
and you're holding us hostage.
It's interesting because, like I said before, well, I think Jahmal has said before, the El Paso shooter, he went to kill Mexicans, but I feel like a lot of ignorant, racist people use Mexicans as an umbrella term for all Hispanic, Latinx individuals. So I feel like that's the issue too, because it's like, you're classified as this one thing.
Yep.
Oh, if you're Mexican, you're illegal.
Yep.
But it's like, and I've had a lot of people come up to me and they'll be like, "Oh, you're Puerto Rican. Do you have a green card?" I'm like, exist.
What?
It's part of the United States.
You're holding us as a modern day colony. Like this is the things that you learn. You don't really learn in school. They try to mask it with like Commonwealth and stuff like that, and then you see all of these individuals who clearly lag. This is how you see how the educational system is failing, because these individuals don't know, and then they're over here like in groups just saying, like, I used to see pictures back, like, from one of my classes that used to show like how bad racism was in America back in like the 1950s,
right.
and it was pictures of like, go back to your countries, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, like who
The
we don't
propaganda.
like, who we don't want here. There was just to be like no blacks, no Mexicans, no Puerto Ricans. Like you see the trend, and I feel like all of those feelings that have been hidden or have been swept under the rug are starting to emerge again, and you're seeing not that it has ever been like gone away, but I feel like they used to mask their racism, and now it's like they're unmasking, and now it's like they're actively taking a stance, because this is what the manifestos are basically saying. Like,
I agree with you.
And it doesn't help when you have a president who's able to openly say that like all Mexicans are rapists, like stuff like that, because then you have these ignorant people who actually like care about what he has to say, who then want to chant everything he says and believe in everything he says and do something about what he says, because if all Mexicans are rapists, well, they're all bad people and they need to go back to their country. You get what I'm saying? So that's where we end up having shooters like the El Paso shooter, the New Zealand shooter, all Muslims are terrorists. Like that's just societal views being pushed upon everyone who is not educated enough to make their own opinions.
Let's go to school.
And immigration has become a huge topic in like American politics now.
Right. I feel like it's safe to say that Trump has effectively declared war on immigrants. So what do you guys think about that?
It's clear, like, his presidential platform, stemmed around, Mexicans are rapists, the problem is at the border, like, that's why we don't have jobs, blah, blah, blah. And that's how he started, and he has amassed, like, a large crowd of supporters. And now you see supporters who feel like they need to act as, like, agents of the state, and they really just want to, destroy it. Like, that's the wording that they use, like the destruction, or the dealing with the problem, getting rid, taking the root out. Like, it's just so much.
Right. And all of this and more is exactly what we will be discussing on next week's show. So if that is something that you would be interested in learning more about, make sure to tune in. To end tonight's show, I would like to share a quote with you all. People who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. This was said by Rob Sultanen.
Yeah. And as some of you may or may not know, the Latin American Student Union is celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, and we have a lot of exciting programming and events in store. So if you want, you can follow us on Instagram at lasu_1969 to make sure you don't miss anything.
Also, if you enjoyed today's show and want to join us on air as a special host, please email lasu at binghamtonsa.org, or find us on Be Engaged, and we can make that dream a reality.
And don't forget that LASU also hosts general body meetings every Thursday in UUW 310 at 8 p.m. This week, we'll be discussing scamming and different ways that minorities finesse the system. It's going to be a very fun conversation, and I hope to see you all there.
Thank you to all of our new and old listeners for tuning in today. Also, a very special thank you to our engineer, Ferdinand Montalvo, for joining us this year once again. You've been listening to WHRW FM with Amiya,
Jahmal,
Kierra.
En la unión está la fuerza.